Monsoon 2024 is upon us, but will it leave us high and dry?
There was little rain and record heat in 2023. We can only hope for better.
Every monsoon has the potential to be violent. Severe weather can develop quickly.
Dry washes can become torrents. Property and lives are on the line.
Microbursts crash to the desert floor with winds more than 100 miles per hour.
During an average summer, there's around 500,000 lightning strikes all across the state.
And dust storms that quickly turn day into night.
We are the First Alert Weather Team.
And this is First Alert Monsoon 2024.
Well, it's that time of the year where we are always keeping an eye on the sky for those beautiful monsoon thunderstorms. But when I think back to last year's monsoon, all I can think about was that incredible and intense heat. In fact, I almost forgot it barely even rained. Monsoon 2023 was historic, but not for the reasons most people like. Extreme heat and little to no rain were the norm. In typical monsoon fashion, though, we saw some isolated storms that did plenty of damage. In late August, a storm rolled into town with gusty winds that knocked down trees and created a wall of dust that delayed the ASU football home opener for more than 2 hours. And just as the season was wrapping up, a microburst hit Mesa on September 12th, damaging mobile home parks and flipping more than a few planes at Falcon Field. Estimated wind speeds were 60 to 90 miles per hour. But the Phoenix heat overshadowed everything, with a brutal July that saw more than a month of high temperatures at or above 110 degrees.
If you are new to our valley, welcome to our summer thunderstorm season. The North American monsoon is a seasonal wind shift that takes place in June and usually runs through September. Now, our usual dry weather pattern actually flows from west to east, but in June, our pattern, it starts to change when high pressure, it shifts and sets up shop right up here near the Four Corners region. Now, this clockwise flow of air imports a lot of moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of California, even as far west as the Pacific Ocean. And this surge of moisture combined with our searing desert heat, we're talking days and days of triple-digit temperatures, that's when these huge towering thunderstorms develop that can produce massive dust walls, damaging wind, lightning, or heavy rain that can lead to deadly flooding.
While we know thunderstorms can contain lots of lightning, we can't ever say for sure when or where the lightning will strike. That's why it's so dangerous. Last year, which was an off year for the monsoon, still produced about 230,000 lightning strikes around the state. But on average, Arizona gets about 500,000 lightning strikes during the monsoon. That's a lot of lightning, and it can be dangerous to people, property, and our landscape. Here's an old school way to figure out how far away you are from the storm. See the lightning? 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5. The thunder at 5 means it's about a mile away. If I would have counted to 10, that would have meant 2 miles away. In either case, that storm's too close. It's time to seek shelter. There are better ways to track lightning. You can do it on any weather app, including our own, or you can just go to the store and buy a lightning detector. But in lieu of that high tech, some good advice comes from the National Weather Service. When thunder roars, get indoors, and then wait 30 minutes after that last thunder to go back outside.
Before the monsoon kicks into gear, an intense dome of heat sets up over Arizona. It's more than just uncomfortable, it's deadly. And after last summer's record-shattering heat, Arizona public safety and health officials are springing into action with a new plan to save lives. June, July, and August bring stifling heat to the valley, but last summer was off the charts. Temperatures soared to 110 degrees or higher for a record 31 days straight in Phoenix. We hit 119 degrees 3 times. July was the hottest month on record for Phoenix, and that proved deadly.
Even across the country, heat kills more people than hurricanes, tornadoes, and floods combined. So that shows the seriousness of heat.
645 people died from the heat in Maricopa County last summer, a 52% jump from the year before. 340 of those were in Phoenix, and more than half were in the month of July. That's about 13 people a day who died from heat last July in Phoenix.
Every single heat-related death is a life that could have been saved.
Public service officials are coming together with a new plan to battle what the governor calls an extreme heat crisis.
We don't want to see that happen again. We cannot control the heat, but we can control our preparation and response.
Dr. Eugene Lavaro is the state's new chief heat officer, the first position of its kind in the nation.
We are confident this plan will put Arizona in a stronger position to reduce heat-related illnesses and deaths for years to come.
There are now more cooling stations, including 2 in Phoenix, that will be open during the overnight hours as well. And that's important since Phoenix low temperatures often don't drop below the 90s. We set our all-time warmest low last summer when the mercury only dropped to 97 degrees one morning. Dr. Lavar says providing the resources is one battle. Spreading the word on that help is another.
Especially those who are vulnerable, such as the homeless, the elderly, those that are working outdoors, maybe those that, English isn't their first language. What can we do to make sure they're aware of those resources and information so that they can be prepared themselves?
About half of those who died from last summer's heat were people experiencing homelessness. Many of the others were indoors but had no AC or broken AC. Maricopa County has programs to help people with utility bills or repair their air conditioning units, and a 24/7 call center where people can get help by calling AZ 211. We've got a link to all of those resources on our website, azfamily.com.
Dust storm, haboob. No matter the name, these filthy beasts are the undisputed monsters of our summer monsoon.
This storm is very intense. I'm sure you can see by the looks of me how strong that this wind is.
And if you are caught driving in one, it can turn deadly in an instant.
These dust channels, these dust storms can pop up and visibility goes to nothing, and drivers can panic justifiably and not know what to do. You've really got to be on alert during the monsoon because just about anything can happen.
Taking advantage of available federal funds for the $54 million widening of I-10 4 years ago, ADOT took a variety of off-the-shelf detection technology and put them all together for a first-in-the-nation $6.5 million dust detection system. It was tested and deployed in the field just in time for the start of Monsoon 2020. There's over a dozen of these visibility sensors placed along the freeway. They shoot a light beam in between the 2 sensors to pick up the tiniest dust particles, because it doesn't take much for visibility to drop in an instant. I'm walking in the dust danger zone. It's about a 10-mile stretch of I-10 just south of Eloy to just north of Picacho Peak, and it is surrounded by large patches of parched desert. This is where decaying thunderstorms, no longer fed by rising warm updrafts, produce downbursts, a column of cold, dense air from the top of the storm, which drops straight down. It rolls up a filthy wall of dirt and sand and usually marches north towards the valley. The fully automated system feeds everything here into ADOT's Transportation Center's control room, home to the agency's 300-plus statewide traffic camera network.
When those sensors activate, it's just instantaneous. The variable speed limit message signs will drop, and overhead message boards will activate with important safety information reminding drivers to slow down.
But if you are caught in the middle of one, it's important to pull over as far as possible, off the road surface if you can, and turn off your headlights and keep your foot off the brake.
We want people to turn their lights off because when visibility is so low, drivers behind you may think that you are traveling on the highway, and drive right into you. That's why it's important to pull off the road if possible and turn your lights off.
As we head down the road into monsoon season, there is one hazard that is especially dangerous.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. He's gonna come back in here. You're gonna climb in the helicopter. I'm gonna be right behind you. It's gonna be hovering.
This is what can happen if you do not obey one of the basic safety rules of driving during the monsoon.
Never cross a flooded roadway.
Sadly, making this mistake has been deadly over the years. Maricopa County Flood Warning Program Manager Daniel Hens says many lives could be saved if drivers yielded to this advice.
When you see the floods, steer clear. Usually only last an hour, maybe less than that. Find another route. It's just not worth risking your life.
Monsoon storms can come and go in a flash, and a wash or a stream can quickly turn into a raging river, even from a thunderstorm that is far off in the distance. So where do these troubled waters often form?
If you live in the Scottsdale area, you know of Indian Bend Wash.
And if it pours there, flash flooding can spread.
Extending all the way far south as Tempe Town Lake, all the way up into the North Mountain Preserve.
Hens also points to particular problem spots north of the 101, including Cave Creek, New River, and Skunk Creek.
All these areas that sit in the foothills just south of the higher mountain ranges, they see quite a bit of water move through them when we get strong thunderstorms.
Here in the alert room on stormy days, Hens and his crew monitor this network with hundreds of rain gauges and stream gauges. If a road needs closing or another life-saving action is needed, they get the word out ASAP. And when it comes to camping,
don't camp down in the bottoms of washes or in basins. Try and be near higher ground and always have an escape route.
And remember that
there's nowhere safe in the valley from flooding. It can really happen anywhere.
While thunderstorms and flash flooding often happen during the afternoon and evening, they can happen overnight. So it's important if you're out there camping or driving to never let your guard down.
Remember when the ASU game came to a screeching halt last year because Mother Nature had other plans? Our local emergency managers prepare for weather like this. Power outages are part of the monsoon. If the power goes out, don't be left in the dark. A look at the technology that can help make weathering the storm easier. Ever wonder why the monsoon season officially starts with no storms on the horizon? We've got the reason behind the June 15th start date. But first, a monsoon fast fact. Besides being dangerous, dust storms have a big impact on air quality. A typical haboob can lift and spread 200 tons of dust.
You're watching an Arizona's Family Special, First Alert, Monsoon 2024.
Don't let monsoon storms, dust, and dangerous heat
make you sweat. Arizona's largest First Alert weather and traffic team.
We are with you.
Where you are, you're confident you won't get caught in the storm with a forecast you can trust.
Experts and tools to guide you through your day. So if an emergency happens in your neighborhood,
protect the ones you love.
With First Alert weather and traffic in your hands.
Only on Arizona's Family 3 TV.
Monsoon season is here, Maricopa County. Flash floods can strike fast, and it only takes 12 inches of water to float your car. Stay informed, avoid flooded areas, and never drive through standing water. Monsoon season is here, Maricopa County. Flash floods can strike fast, and it only takes 12 inches of water to float your car. Stay informed, avoid flooded areas, and never drive through standing water. Visit maricopa.gov/monsoon for more tips. Stay safe.
You're watching an Arizona's Family Special, First Alert, Monsoon 2024.
Time now for another monsoon fast fact. The average monsoon storm produces 275 million gallons of rain. That's enough to fill 1/4 of Tempe Town Lake. Prep work for when the monsoon hits, and of course, loading up with water and a first aid kit, so important. Ladies and gentlemen, we were with the famous Home Depot Debbie that's been a part of our broadcast for many years, and you brought out some supplies that are needed when that monsoon hits, and let's say we lose power. Some of the things that are so important.
Yes, absolutely. We have portable power.
This is amazing.
We do have something called pocket juice, where you just have that charged up. So if you do need to just charge your phone, you can plug your charging cord into just the pocket juice.
Okay.
But this is portable power for many other things.
Okay.
This is an inverter, and it also goes with
a Ryobi 1 battery. So this works on drills, saws, whatever. You just take it out, pop it in to this item, so this does not have to be pre-charged.
And then look at this.
Some of the more elevated ones you need to have charged, but this one now gives you USB ports, outlet plugs, you know, many different devices that you can plug into this so you are not without power.
Because you never know how long that power is going to be out. And then you have some updated versions. This thing's amazing right here.
So this is just kind of when you're going with the more power, right? This one's kind of great, and this one's even better. So this one gives you more power, more outlets, more USB ports. This one you could plug into your car battery and get power from your car to charge anything or do anything you need, if you need light or what have you. So this Vector is just this same device, just on steroids.
A bigger version.
Exactly.
And of course, folks, you know, some cooling items, that's important too. And you've got some Arctic Air items that work out pretty good.
They do. So this one takes water, like an EVAP cooler. We've got fans that will also take the Ryobi 1 battery and work off of the battery. There's neck coolers that if you have that pre-charged, you put it around your neck and it keeps you cool. So many things that there are devices that you can, or just, you know, a cold rag around your neck will help as well. But if we lose power in the summer, you know how hot it will be.
It's gonna be hot.
Or jump in the pool.
Or jump in the pool. Thanks a lot for all the prep ideas for when that monsoon hits.
The first time the Arizona summer thunderstorm season was called a monsoon was back in the 1930s. There was pushback for many, many years, but it's pretty much textbook now. Arizona has a seasonal wind shift. That's the definition of a monsoon. Not everyone bought in right away, but by the 1970s, most folks around here accepted the term Arizona monsoon. But that brought up another issue. When did the monsoon start every year? There were many attempts to figure that out, but the starting definition that stuck used dew points. Specifically, it was determined that when Phoenix had 3 straight days of dew points that averaged 55 degrees or more, the monsoon was here.
But that was the most understandable definition, that when the precipitable water above Phoenix was an inch, then the propensity for storms increased. Did it increase a lot from 3/4 of an inch to an inch? Probably not.
Right.
But you had to have some starting point, and it was decided 1 inch is a good one, and 55-degree dew point is close to a 1 inch. And of course, we got to throw in, it needs to be 3 consecutive days, otherwise you don't have enough in the air mass.
It caught on, and for more than 40 years, that's how we started the monsoon, with dew points. Ending it, well, that was a different story, usually assigned to one individual at the Weather Service.
And it was never clear, at least to me, exactly what he would use to determine when the monsoon had ended. Because as you mentioned, okay, we have 3 days of 55. What happens if we go below 55 for 3 days? Is the monsoon over now? Well, no, it's not over. So anyway, the use of the dew point, while it was, at least for us, a standard, it wasn't very clear cut on when it was and when it wasn't, and even some of the people in research community felt that, well, 55 was pretty arbitrary.
And with the confusion in Phoenix, no one was really sure when the monsoon started in other places around the state. So in 2008, Tony Haffer, who was then the head of the National Weather Service at Phoenix, forged an agreement with the other Weather Service offices around the state to set the monsoon as being from June 15th to September 30th, kind of like a hurricane season.
And to be honest about it, it offloaded the complaints about the dew points. And there forever were people discussing that. And so now that was put aside, and we're just looking at the calendar.
The new system, the same dates for the monsoon every year, has really worked pretty good.
Well, the monsoon is good in some places, not so good in others, because of the nature of thunderstorms. And to be able to compare whether 2008 was wetter than 2018, you really need to have apples and apples, like you said. And I think that's the way to do it.
By the way, since the new system went into effect in 2008, it's never rained on the first day of the monsoon at Sky Harbor Airport.
During the summer monsoon, the National Weather Service's team of meteorologists are staying on top of constantly moving storms and issuing watches and warnings as quickly as they can when needed. The goal is to protect life and property. We got a behind-the-scenes look at how they work alongside first responders and other meteorologists. You may remember this storm. A massive plume of dust took over the valley and blew into ASU's football stadium during their season opener last August. This forced fans to find shelter and caused a game delay. Following the dust came thunderstorms that caused a ground stop at Sky Harbor and left thousands without power.
So it can go fairly calm to pretty chaotic when it comes to monitoring those storms really quickly.
That's Tom Frieders, the warning coordination meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Phoenix.
We can see that immediately and respond.
He says on that day, storms first developed to the south in Pinal County, then moved into the valley. His team worked with the NWS office in Tucson to issue dust storm and severe thunderstorm warnings that evening. And as we know, monsoon storms can really pop up anywhere across the state. Frieders says coordinating with other NWS offices to make sure the public is aware of the potential for severe weather is crucial.
For the state of Arizona, for instance, we also coordinate with our offices in Vegas, Flagstaff, and Tucson.
He says their teams are discussing concerns and best practices to get a clear, informative message out to residents.
Understand your risk and know where to get your warnings. Be signed up for some kind of application or something that will send you warnings when we issue those.
Command, we currently have the occupant of the vehicle.
And a big part of their communication revolves around conversations with first responders. His team will do wildfire and flood exercise trainings with emergency responders throughout the year, so when a real event happens, they are ready to respond and know who they are talking to.
Anytime emergency responders are out there, responding out in the elements, they will usually contact us to see what's going on now, how long is it going to last, is there more severe weather moving in, so that they keep themselves safe too out there responding.
Frieders says they also have a network of volunteers called storm spotters. They're essentially eyes on the ground. They're trained to learn about storms and how to report that information to the Weather Service. Their work is a helping hand to understand the storm from all angles.
We have all this technology to see what's going on up in the clouds, up in those storms, but what's happening on the ground, we still need the eyes out there, and those volunteers are considerable help for us.
Our First Alert Weather team also works right alongside the National Weather Service to make sure you are aware of the storms so you can prepare and stay safe.
Will this monsoon season be a repeat of last year, or will we be treated with some impressive storms? Your 2024 First Alert monsoon forecast is moments away. Time now for another monsoon fast fact. The storm of the century produced 3.30 inches of rain in Phoenix on September 8, 2014. That set a record for the most daily rainfall ever recorded.
You're watching an Arizona's Family Special, First Alert, Monsoon 2024. You're watching an Arizona's Family Special, First Alert, Monsoon 2024.
A monsoon fast fact. The wettest monsoon on record for Phoenix was 1984 when 9.56 inches of rain fell. The driest monsoon was recorded just last year when only 0.15 inches was recorded at the airport.
The monsoon brings constantly changing weather conditions. The best way to stay in the know, our free AZ Family First Alert weather app. We've got live radar so you can see the rain coming. And when storms move your way, you can get storm warnings sent right to your phone. Heat warnings too. You can also opt for live lightning detection so you can know how close those strikes are. And of course, our latest First Alert forecast so you always know what's next.
The 3 hottest summers in Phoenix have come since 2015. And of the top 10 hottest summers, only one year, 1981, dates back to before the turn of the century. The current long-range outlooks from the Climate Prediction Center also bear that current trend out. And the thinking is, don't be surprised if we get another record breaker. Now the rain. 4 of the last 5 monsoons have been drier than normal, and last year it was just terrible. We expect that for most locations in Arizona, that trend will follow as well. One reason is that the current El Nino pattern in the Pacific, warming of the sea surface temperatures, is quickly changing to a La Nina, cooling of those temperatures. That sets us up for a potentially dry summer. Also, the monsoon outlook from the Climate Prediction Center has the same drier than average prediction. So our Arizona Family First Alert forecast for monsoon 2024 statewide is to expect drier than average rainfall and hotter than average temperatures.
We've hoped you've enjoyed this last half hour with us. And on behalf of Arizona's family, thank you for watching First Alert Monsoon 2024.